Okay, I'd like to call to order the regular council meeting of September 13th, 2021. Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Here.
Mr. Sensi. Here. Mr. Council Magno.
Here.
Ms. Gibbons.
Here.
Mr. Hannon.
Present.
Mr. Harrison.
Present.
Mr. McLean.
Here.
Mr. Mowry.
Here.
Mr. O'Brien.
Present.
All members are present and accounted for. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, at this time, I'd like to turn to chair announcements. On August 23rd, 2021, executive session of council was held to discuss potential property acquisition. In September 13th, 2021, before we came to the floor for police personnel contract issues. At this time, I would like to turn to the reports of the officials and the police chief's report, and Chief O'Connor.
Mr. Mayor, Council, good evening, everyone. Chief here. Due to the high rate of COVID cases in Allegheny County, we're going to be making some changes in BPPD. We are closing our records room for the time being. If anybody needs an accident report, we will send it to them through the mail. We're not going to have any notary service. We're not going to be doing any fingerprinting services, which we do for people seeking jobs and such. We also are not going to have any Crime Watch meeting in October, so hopefully we have one in November. The one thing that we will be doing is if you have prescription drugs and you still need to drop them off, you come to our lobby, please mask up, and we'll have somebody come out and we'll get them and put them in a box for you. And eventually, someday, we'll return to normal. God willing, and a river don't rise. Questions?
No, thank you very much, Chief. Can we turn to the fire chief's report?
Ciao.
Thank you, Chief. Council, good evening. Citizens of Bethel Park, good evening. My name is Rob Usselman. I am Assistant Chief with the Bethel Park Volunteer Fire Company. We're going to get into our incident rundown.
Put the microphone closer to your mouth.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to get into the incident rundown for August of 2021. For the month of August, we ran a total of 52 calls. We had 5 structure fires, 1 propane tank on fire, 1 elevator rescue, 4 gas leaks / chemical spills, 8 electrical conditions, 1 vehicle accident cleanup, 7 good intent calls, 2 smoke investigations, 18 fire alarms, and 5 CO alarms. So a rather busy month for us for a total of 52 calls. The other thing is I would like to share an announcement. I've mentioned at the last couple council meetings, but our open house is going to be October 3rd from 11 to 3 p.m. at our main station on Brightwood Road, which is right down the street here by Bethel Bakery, for those of you not aware. We ask everyone to bring the kids out. We're going to have our fire trucks out. We're going to have our station tours. We're going to have a plug-in. We have a little talking fire hydrant that is a remote control that we'll bring out, and the kids really love it. And then we're going to have Sparky the fire dog. The big thing is with Fire Prevention Week is October 3rd to October 9th. And really, the theme this year is learn the sounds of fire safety. To learn more about that, you can go to nfpa.org and make sure you go to the right link, click on fire safety. But our open house is going to be themed around that. So I hope to see everybody there. And that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Any questions from council? Hearing none, thank you very much. Can we turn to the municipal manager's report and Mr. Christian?
Members of council,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Just like to take a couple of minutes real quick and give you a quick update on Bethel Park, what's been going on for the last month, and some things to look forward to in the future. Some of the things that we're working on here within the staff is we continually strive to communicate with our residents, and due to so, we're looking at our social media and our subscriptions for our website. So on that website, you can see, you can sign up for different subscriptions, how you like to communicate, whether we can check on our Facebook, we have our website, the text and email subscriptions. You can click on different types of communications that Bethel Park can better communicate with you. Some things, whether you know or not, Bethel Park was just recently in a movie. For the last week and a half, couple weeks, they were filming at our community center and other various locations around Bethel Park. So you can look for the movie called Cha-Cha Real Smooth in theaters sometime in the next 12 to 18 months. It was an independent film, but we can get Bethel Park on the map a little more. Recently, we had our Rev 'em Up for Kids. We had 655 cars out there on display, and an amazing amount of money, over $11,000 was raised to help out for the kids. Some of the things that are coming to a close is our farmers market. As it winds down to a close, it has been incredibly successful over the last several months. We have had 2 second-round best of in a different contest. One of them is the OR Best. Farmers markets are listed under the shopping categories, so it's www.or-best.com. And if you look under the shopping category, Bethel Park Farmers Market can be found under that. And as the farmers market winds down, the No Cook Tuesdays will begin again in October 5th, and every other Tuesday after that, right over there at the community center. Come get some No Cook Tuesday, and the food trucks will be there plentiful. We just had some fitness equipment installed in Village Green. It's fabulous. Our Public Works Department is installing the mulch right now, so those will be operational here in a couple of days. And recently we had a sawmill run, groundbreaking. That was a stream restoration project that will begin in earnest. That's going to help that stream stay very well in the coming years. That project will work to stabilize the stream, mitigate erosion, and reduce sediment and nutrients in the sawmill run. This was our very first groundbreaking event for the new community engagement process we're doing. The next several of them will commence here. We're going to have one for Birch Tree Park, Oak Tree Park, and Millennium Park in the coming weeks to months. We have a communication survey that we are getting ready to roll out. This will help us, as I spoke about the first part, help us better communicate with our residents. Right now it's being physically with tablets and paper at the farmers market and over there in the library. A couple small things. One wonderful thing, the census results are back in, and Bethel Park continues to grow. We're up 3.9%. That is about a 1,264 resident increase from the 2010 census to a grand total of 33,577 residents in Bethel Park. So as we continue to grow, that is right along line with the county. One last thing, or actually 2 last things. Community Day is upon us. It is back. The Community Day will be held on September 25th from 10 to 3 p.m. at the Bethel Park High School. And after such a divisive and difficult 18 months, let's use this as an opportunity to rally around our community. The Community Day Parade will start right out front here at 9 a.m. and we'll go right down from the municipal building. The parade route is West Library, turns left on Highland, but to Bethel Church Road, to Church Road, and then down Black Hawk Drive. And then one last, final, Halloween is getting ready to be upon us here next month. With October coming, Halloween will be October 31st. We don't cancel it, we just recommend and highly encourage October 31st is the actual day of Halloween from 6 to 8 p.m. We just recommend that one. And don't forget, we got something coming up the day before Halloween. You might have remembered it from last year, but I'll let the mayor tell about that one here in his report. But thank you so much, I appreciate the time.
We'll turn to the mayor's report. He didn't steal all the good news, Mayor.
Might as well just sit down. Well, since Lawrence mentioned Halloween, I might as well start off with that one. And that's going to be that we are going to have our parade again this year. and that'll be October 30th. The routes have yet to be determined. They may or probably will be a little bit different than last year. And I was informed also that when they do the pumpkin painting, they won't make it in permanent paint this time. So if you live on a street that has a faded pumpkin, you better look for a new one, because the faded one really won't mean much. And then, speaking of Halloween also, we're having our third year for having our Halloween house decorating contest. So if you're interested in becoming a judge, call Janet Davin at 412-831-6800, extension 211. The invitation goes out to last year's winners, but they don't always come through, so we may need some judges, so you can check with Janet on that. And while you're on the phone with Janet, our fall cleanup will be Saturday, October 23rd. So if you or you represent a group that might be interested in participating, we do all the supplying, and you just have to show up and help us clean our roads. So if you can call Janet at that same number. And lastly, we're still planning on doing our 90+ luncheon. Things change daily, but if you have someone or know someone that is 90 years old plus, call Janet. She will in turn send out an invitation, and then we look forward to having it. That'll be October 9th at the community center. So it's a nice event, and it's been probably going on for 15 or 16 years. But the big thing is that Lauren said is the Halloween parade. We've gotten so many calls on it. It's certainly the biggest event that we've had since I've been around, and we look forward to doing it again. And just one more note on the Community Day. We didn't have one last year, so the sports organizations and the small businesses really need your help. So if you hadn't been to Community Day in the past, or you have been, please show up, support our community. So, and that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. At this time, could we turn to the approval of the minutes, and Mr. Hannan?
The first item under the minutes is the August 9th, 2021 regular meeting minutes. I move that we approve the minutes from the August 9th, 2021 regular council meeting.
There's a motion by Mr. Hannan, second by Ms. Gibbons, that we approve the minutes from the August 9, 2021 regular council meeting. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Council Magno.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mr. Hannan.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Mowry.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Hannan.
The next item is the minutes from the special meeting of August 23rd. I move that we approve the minutes from the August 23rd, 2021 special meeting.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Hannan, second by Ms. Gibbons, that we approve the minutes from the August 23rd, 2021 special meeting. This meeting was held to pass a resolution as we are looking to refinance a bond issue. And part of the process is we have to adopt the debt, I believe it's a debt ordinance, and we give a target of minimum savings of 2%. So if the markets are in the right position, the bond issue that we did from the Public Works Complex, we may be refinancing, and you'll probably hear more about this in the future. 2% equates to roughly $200,000 minimum savings that we're targeting, and we have selected to reduce our debt service. So the payments, the amount will stay the same, just our payments each month or each year will diminish slightly based on whatever rate we do. So that'll be upcoming, but that was a special meeting. Is there any other discussion from council? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Here. Yes, rather.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Council Magno.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons.
Yes.
Mr. Hannan.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Mowry.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. At this time, I would like to turn to the approvals of the bills and payrolls. And Mr. Hannan.
I move that we approve bill list number 1321 in the amount of $2,02,325.60.
There's a motion by Mr. Hannan, second by Ms. Gibbons, that we approve bill list number 091321 in the amount of $2,002,325.60. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell.
Yes.
Mr. Sensi.
Yes.
Mr. Council Magnum.
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons. Mr. Hannan.
Yes.
Mr. Harrison.
Yes.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Mowry.
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. At this time, I would like to turn to the the resident comment section for non-agenda items. I have two people signed up to speak. Is it Judy Krieger, 5730 Janet Drive, if you'd like to come up?
I'm Judy Kreger. I live on Janet Drive. I'm one of Bethel Park's residents. The issue that I'm bringing to council is more for the people that do the negotiating with the waste management or whatever company, and for recycling and for garbage. July 4th fell on Sunday, and federally, July 5th was the holiday, except waste management. But that's not how their brochure put it out. On my street, on my block, 10 houses, or 20 houses, 10 on each side, not one single person put any garbage or recycle out until about 7 o'clock in the morning. One of their recycle trucks came up the street real slow. Then you saw all the neighbors running, putting their garbage out, dragging their recycle to the other side of the street because that truck wasn't going to do that trip again. And I called Waste Management a couple times and got passed around and asked for a supervisor that was there to be told that everybody's working from home. Must have been a holiday or something. I also called the mayor to find out that I wasn't the only person that called about this, and not from my area, but from other areas, streets around there. So I just would like that maybe when you go to negotiations, you have somebody that's bringing something to the table that's over 65 or so, that maybe walks with a cane and dragging that can up your driveway that goes like this. Empty is a problem, and then to get it out there on the wrong day or miss your collection. My garbage and recycle sat out for the full cycle. I wasn't bringing them back in again. So that's all I bring, just that when you negotiate, that you think about the people, since Bethel Park is getting older, that you think about the people that might have some issues with that. I don't know what the background was that we changed to waste management. The other service, you could put anything at the curb and they took it. This has to be specially wrapped, and I don't know, just seems like a whole lot of nothing. So that's all. My name and address are at the bottom, a phone number, and an email address. Anybody has anything to say or wants me to help them in any way?
Thank you very much. We apologize for the inconvenience.
That's okay.
We did a bad job of communicating it, that we weren't going to rep through the holiday, but we'll make sure we address that next year.
It's only when the holiday falls on Saturday or Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Then it just. Oh, this is my. You got to steal one for somebody else.
Okay.
I'll put that here.
Thank you. Okay, we have Bev Thurder, 4802 Chris Road. We normally have a 2-3 minute limit, but we can raise that if you'd like.
Thank you. Sure I can. If I'm allowed to.
We got that from Waste Management.
Yeah.
Thank you. I have two items. One is kind of a short one on the zoning that's going from R3 to C2. How much will this affect traffic in a negative way? That's the question I have. There's a lot of traffic there now, and it will be compounded when the 19 Ryan homes, which are being built adjacent to the bridge, the Bethel Church Bridge, and there are cars now that are going from the village toward 88 that make a left there into Walgreens illegally. I don't know if there's a throughway right now where the houses are being built on the right-hand side as you're be coming down to the bridge. I don't know if that's going to be closed off or it's going to be open.
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you. That's going to be emergency access, so the gate will
Okay,
remain.
that's what I thought. I just hope
I'm
no
sorry.
goofballs break it or anything like, how they do. Okay, that's it for that. But, okay, and the other one, I'm sorry. There are cars, excuse me, I live on Chris Road, and there is a cul-de-sac on Chris Road. A house which is in the cul-de-sac has 4 to 6 cars parked around the cul-de-sac all the time, day, night. She does have a driveway and a garage. Don't know, how many people are there. I don't care. My concern is the 6 cars in a cul-de-sac. First off, the emergency vehicles, if there's a fire truck, ambulance or whatever that has to come down, police, they're going to have a tough time. Right now, the garbage trucks have a difficult time picking up the trash and getting around the cul-de-sac due to the cars that are packed there. And I mean, some of those buggers are really big, the trucks. It takes them sometimes 20 minutes to pull back, pull up, pull back. I am here to request either a zoning change or at the very least have several no parking at any time signs to be placed there. To replace a private driveway sign which is obsolete and does not pertain to driveways because there's none there. In the winter, the large salt trucks, snow plows, have a nearly impossible task of clearing the snow and salting the road due to all the parked cars. Last winter, when the snow plow finally made its way out of the cul-de-sac and up the street, I'm like the 4th house up, I had the job of cleaning the snow off the street in front of my driveway because after jockeying around all those cars, a guy, I guess, was just wanting to get up the street. It's also difficult for delivery trucks, grass-cutting vehicles with their equipment and trailers in tow to manage. Finally, over this past weekend, I spent several hours riding through various areas of Bethel that had either dead ends or cul-de-sacs, of which there are many. Some of them had no parking signs, some did not. Out of all these, a maximum of 3 streets or dead ends had only 1 car parked there. The rest of the dead-end cul-de-sacs had no cars. Some had signs, some did not. But this is really it's more of a nuisance than anything else. It's dangerous, and I think it's impeding other people's rights. So I was always taught your rights end when they start going into everybody else's rights. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll quickly address, we'll have the police go up and look to see if it becomes a safety issue. Historically, with no parking signs, we like to ask the residents to maybe circulate a petition, even in stop signs, making sure everybody in the neighborhood is comfortable with it. And then you could present it, send it to the manager, and then we can do it if that's the wish of the neighborhood. We would normally ask the police to look at it, and then we could potentially put no parking up under the manager's 90-day clause. Okay, thank you. Are there anybody else that would like to speak on non-agenda items? Hearing none, can we turn to health, safety, and welfare and Mr. O'Brien?
Mr. Chairman, there are no items under health, safety, and welfare this evening.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to planning and zoning and Ms. Gibbons?
Application number 2021-0622, 150 Hillside Drive, Automotive Repair Building. I move that we approve this application for major land development per the municipal planner's memorandum dated August 18, 2021.
Second?
There's a motion by Ms. Gibbons, second by Mr. Hannan, that we approve this application for major land development per the municipal planner's memorandum dated August 18, 2021. Any discussion of this item? Ms. Gibbons?
This is the existing building at the site will be demolished to make room for the new proposed building. And this is the Bruce Brothers Tire Complex.
Yeah, Bruce Brothers will be expanding, I believe.
Expanding, yes,
and
rather
the building
than-
behind it will be demolished.
Right.
Are there any discussion from council? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Hannan,
Yes.
Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Mallory,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Ms. Gibbons?
Application 2021-0529, Bethel Park Shopping Center, final major subdivision. I move that we approve the this application for a final major subdivision in the Bethel Park Shopping Center per the municipal planner's memorandum dated August 18, 2021.
Second?
There's a motion by Ms. Gibbons, second by Mr. Hannan, that we approve this application for final major subdivision, the Bethel Park Shopping Center, per the municipal planner's memorandum dated August 18, 2021. Any discussion of this item? Ms. Gibbons?
Basically, this plan proposes to create separate parcels for the Chase Bank and the existing Wendy's restaurant on site. This is on Route 88.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Is there any other discussion from council? Hearing none, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Consolmagno,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons,
Yes?
Mr. Hannan,
Yes.
Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Mallory,
Yes.
and Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Ms. Gibbons?
Ordinance 9-13-21, Sparrow Applied Designs rezoning. I move that we approve ordinance 9-13-21, amending the zoning district map of the municipality of Bethel Park by rezoning certain parcels of property from zoning classifications R3, which one family dwelling district, and C1, neighborhood commercial district, to C2, general commercial district, being located between Broughton Road, State Route 2040, and Library Road, State Route 0088.
Second?
There's a motion by Ms. Gibbons, second by Mr. Hannan, that we approve ordinance number 9-13-21, amending the zoning district map of the municipality of Bethel Park by rezoning certain parcels of property from zoning classification R3, one family dwelling district, in C1, neighborhood commercial district, to C2, General Commercial District, being located on Broughton Road, State Route 2040, and Library Road, State Route 88. Is there any discussion of this item? Ms.
Mr.
Gibbons?
Chairman.
Okay, Ms. Gibbons first, and Mr. O'Brien.
This rezoning request is for the 12 parcels located between Library Road and Broughton Road, and the parcels also adjoin the vacated portion of Lindemer Drive. 5 of the parcels are currently zoned C1, and 7 parcels are currently zoned R3 residential. The applicant is requesting that all 12 parcels be zoned C2 commercial. The total area for the rezoning is 3.9 acres.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Mr. O'Brien.
I would just like to say that I will be voting no on this rezoning. At this time, I'm just not comfortable with the unknown of one transferring from one classification to the other. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Is there any other discussion? I'll go, a couple things that I learned through this process. It went through the Planning Commission, and they recommended it, came to council, we had a public hearing, and there was a number of issues discussed. First and foremost is traffic, which is brought up tonight. When we look at a zoning, we kind of factor that in, but once it's rezoned, if it is rezoned, then you look at any development, it goes in, they will then do a traffic study, and they would lay out via PennDOT, because they're state roads, on how the traffic's going to be done in the site as part of the site development process. One of the things that came up in the meeting was the left turn on Broughton Road onto Route 88. Mr. Sensei brought up tonight, he had asked staff to research it. We didn't have a lot of background prior from 20 years ago when it was originally done or longer. But what we did do is to go to our traffic consultant, ask them, can we do it and what would the cost be? They gave us kind of a time frame with PennDOT, what you have to do, the permits, provided PennDOT approves it. We gave the approval tonight before we came to the road. No matter what the zoning is, that we're going to make application to make a left turn arrow on Broughton onto Route 88, irregardless of what happens tonight. So we made we'll be approaching our traffic consultant, who will then approach PennDOT on the application. I guess my general comment on any rezoning, you got to be very concerned of the impact on the neighborhood. And you got to be concerned on what it's going to do to existing and future. And I think we identified in the long-range plan that we had some areas that kind of needed redeveloped. One of the things that we're currently working on is coming up with a redevelopment authority, not to do mass redevelopments, but to help the people that are out there that may have shops or existing facilities, that how do we make it look better? How do we connect, the business owner, bring them together as a group, and look at a region versus doing individual properties? How do we get people to commit to doing things using, Tom Dewar, our county council representative, is here tonight, thank you. But the county has a vast array of programs that we can tap into, but we need a conduit to be able to do that, which is kind of secondary to this application, in my opinion. I look at this as, is it going to improve the area and what impact? And it's a tough decision, because it's going to have a little impact on the neighborhood no matter what we do. I look at it that we have an opportunity here to maybe make some changes. I think the property owner has done a lot with the development. It's there. I think one of the things we believe will happen is if this zoning does go through per the PennDOT, a lot of the parking that currently is on Broughton Road that's perpendicular and on Route 88 will probably go away as part of this. They need more internal parking, I think, to make that facility, which started this whole process, they don't have adequate parking to handle what they have. So, well, they didn't show us any plans and we didn't approve anything. The concept behind it was, how do we get more additional parking on that site? We also talked about informally even stormwater management. Months ago, we talked about down at the Walmart Giant Eagle Plaza that they were coming in piecemeal and they weren't doing a total site for any stormwater management. Well, if this is rezoned, even if it's not, during the development process, they're going to be forced to do stormwater management, which will help the neighboring properties below and really the businesses below. Having said all that, I think we have one opportunity to do this. 2/3 of it's already zoned some form of commercial. Part of it is not, and we're going to be changing it all to general commercial. It's kind of landlocked because you have the 50-foot build line on each side based on the property, and I think that it was a couple acres we talked about, Lori mentioned, Ms. Gibbons mentioned about being rezoned, but a portion of that is also going to be for parking and they're not able to build. Having said all that, I think this is an opportunity for us to help fix the corner up, make it a little better for everybody. The traffic, once again, there's no real curb cuts there. Part of the traffic mitigation or their plan, and I'm sure PennDOT's going to require them to put in certain curb cuts to make it safer and move the traffic and parking away from the intersection and possibly do some lane expansions to make the overall improvement. So I will be supporting this tonight. Is there any other discussion from council? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Sensi,
No.
Mr. Council Magno,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Hannon,
Yes.
Mr. Harrison,
No.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Mallory,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
No.
Motion passes 6-3. We will certainly, it's 30 days before this goes into effect, and anything the developer would do, the property owner, as far as any development, the neighborhood be notified and, be involved in the process as far as the development of the site, if that comes to fruition. Okay, Ms. Gibbons.
There are no additional items under planning and zoning.
Thank you, Ms. Gibbons. Are there any additional items? Hearing none, can we turn to Public Works and Maintenance and Mr. Consolmagno?
Mr. Murray, we only have one item under Public Works and Maintenance. Gravely Pro Stance 48-inch mowers. I move that we approve the purchase of 3 mowers from Dobosh Service Center per the Public Works Director's Memorandum dated August 20th, 2021.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Consolmagno, second by Ms. Gibbons, that we approve the purchase of 3 mowers from Dobosh Service Center per the Public Works Director's Memorandum dated August 20th, 2021. Any discussion of this item? Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Council Magno,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Hannon,
Yes.
Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Mallory,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. Consolmagno.
We have no other items under Public Works and Maintenance.
Thank you very much, Mr. Consolmagno. I just have one quick item. I know the fire department is having their open house on October 3rd from 11 to 3. The Bethel Park Historical Society will also be having an open house starting at 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. On the same day, October 3rd. We've kind of done it both at the same time. Our event will start a little earlier. There'll be a ceremony at 10 a.m. and we'll have an open house for the day. Is there any other discussion from council?
Yes, Mr. Mowry.
Mr. McLean.
May I suggest we go back and do general policy and finance? There we go. I didn't want to interfere with the order.
Oh, my goodness. How dare we skip over you?
That's
Mr.
okay.
McLean, at this time, we would turn to general policy and finance. My apologies.
And last but not least, we only have one item under general policy and finance, document scanning and construction service. I move that we approve the contract with Scantech in the amount of $143,468.52 for the period through 2024.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McLean, second by Ms. Gibbons, that we approve the contract with Scantech in the amount of $143,468.52 for the period through 2024. It was a technical issue. It was my computer. It didn't show
You
that.
couldn't see that, yes.
Because
I
it couldn't have been me.
understand.
Is there any other discussion from council? With my apologies, Mr. Christian, would you please call the roll?
Yes.
Dr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Sensi,
Yes.
Mr. Council Magno,
Yes.
Ms. Gibbons,
Yes.
Mr. Hannon,
Yes.
Mr. Harrison,
Yes.
Mr. McLean,
Yes.
Mr. Mallory,
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien.
Yes.
Motion passes 9-0. Mr. McLean,
There's nothing further under general policy and finance.
did I miss anything else?
I would let you know if you did.
Thank you. I certainly, Brian's not here, so.
That's right.
Okay, is there any other discussion from council?
Move we adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everybody. Second by Mr.
Good night.
Consolmagno.
No, you don't.